Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Obliteration Redux. I have recently made a terrible mistake, and have gotten myself a hat to compensate for my own idiocy. It looks lovely, but it does not cover up my folly. The folly, of course, being this. Unfortunately, I haven't shown this on camera because it's such a long project, but I've been flattening out this area for a good while now. Unfortunately, I'm very much wrong, because I've been studying, you can put heavy air quotes around that, but I've been looking at London's streets and Yarnum's streets, which are the two main inspirations for this area. The first city was very heavily going to be based on Yarnum from Bloodborne. Oh, I love this hat. Okay, maybe it does compensate a little bit. But the first city was going to be based on Yarnum from Bloodborne, and the thing about Yarnum is that there's a lot of elevation in that map. So where I wanted to do all these big terraces, that wouldn't really fit in like a naturally sprawling city. Also, I don't think I've ever heard of anything that has, what would this be? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15... 18, 21, nearly 21 feet tall or foot tall terraces. And yes, I'm using feet. I know it's a meter, but a meter's almost 3 feet, so I just calculate in American measurements. But I don't think that many places have 21 foot tall terraces. So where this one, I'm gonna say is fine to keep. This one's okay. It's not too much of an affront to nature. And also I'm going to be putting stuff underneath of it, so that's fine. This one, unfortunately, even though I've been doing a lot of work on it, does need to go. So I'm probably going to get all of this gone, but I just wanted to showcase what happens when you don't actually look at something, and you just kind of start going, and then you research it later. Notably, there was a large hill here that I'm very glad I got rid of, because now I have more space even after I sort of bring this back to its hilly nature. I have more space to work with up here because that hill was very steep. So thankfully that's still gone. But now I'm just going to be using my excavator tool, which is of course the spectral hammer spell. Oh, I gotta sleep before the legions of the dead come out from underneath of this. It's a bit of a passive mob spawner. Here, wait, let me show you. Just gotta... You can already kind of hear him. Hi, guys. See? Just, you know, whenever I want to have a tournament, I can just come down here. It's great. I have no idea how well this is going to work on camera. Come here. Die. Alright. But yeah, so, huge problem. Gotta take all of this out. Thankfully, though, as I've shown in the past... Let me get to the edge of this. Okay, so unfortunately, I'm never gonna have enough storage to store all this, but fortunately... Fortunately, I can just kind of mow through it. Or at least mow through a lot of it, I should say. Only taking temporary breaks to do that. But yeah, all of this has to go, which is wildly unfortunate, and I think I'm going to time-lapse all of it, so I'm just going to do it in like a day. But yeah, it's all going to turn into a bunch of dirt in a big old storage chest. At least, though, I don't have to cover in the fact that every single thing that I do happens to have a silver lining. Oh, come on. Switch spells. There we go. In the fact that every single thing I do happens to have a silver lining. This is only like a third of this, so at least I got it before I got to, like, there. Because that would have been sad. Also, a reference point that I just noticed is I was building this to put this all into perspective. Oh dear. Oh, eating animations isn't working. That's unfortunate. I'll look into that later. But to put it into perspective, I have about as many episodes out now as most of the people doing Hermitcraft. About as many. I've been posting weekly, so I think I'm like on par with Pearl. Let me check. Yeah, okay, so I'm nearly on par with Pearl. She's on episode 28 of Hermitcraft, and I'm on episode 24 of this. What I'm saying is essentially I started this very close to when, about a month after, I think. About a month after season 10 of Hermitcraft started, and I was building this when she was getting netherite. So it's been a while since we built this. I really need to just get around to finishing the city, because as Impulse has recently mentioned in Hermitcraft, it's been 7 months. I know I'm one person and this isn't my full-time job, but I mean, it's been 7 months. You know what I mean? Admittedly, this is more of a Let's Play than it is a building channel. Well, it's kind of both. But admittedly, there are some episodes of this, like, you know, Accidental Adventures and its sequel. And also the fact that we went looking for eyes, and there was an entire adventure of just exploring the end because I'm using Nullscape, and it was fun and intriguing. But, like, this is the most impressive first build that we did, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm happy with its roof, but we'll get to that later. And then over here, by far the most impressive build that we have still, I made 2 weeks ago. So, you know what I mean? Like, the most impressive build that we have, I'd almost say, how? The most impressive build that we'd have, I'd almost say besides my own house, we made 2 weeks ago. So I gotta step up my A game. Like, honestly. I guess, okay, I might be underselling myself a little bit because there are the entire episodes devoted to farms, and then the episode devoted to this thing, which worked for the time, and then villagers are too busy being idiots getting themselves killed. So now it's just a bee house. It'll hold villagers eventually. I just gotta spawn-proof everything. But all of that to say, and I don't know how much of that's staying in, but knowing my editing style, probably most of it, I need to do some demo work. I gotta get all of this out of here, and then I gotta get the first city started. So hopefully by the end of the week, we'll have at least the first terrace area done, and this terrace will be gone. And by the first terrace area, I mean that I'm going to be laying out the roads and all of the alleyways and all of the intricate little details in this area here. In this space, we're going to have a bunch of houses that might not have a purpose, which is by far the most irritating thing to me. I mentioned when I was building Eldergrove that I don't like dealing with organics. The next thing that I don't like dealing with is buildings that have no reason for existence. So I might put farms in them, I might not, but it's going to be a little thing that irks me about this build the entire time. But I understand the reason to have them, because, you know, they have to look pretty and we're building a city and stuff like that. And eventually, they will hold villagers that will have jobs. But for now, it's just going to be empty and, you know, feel bad, that kind of thing. But I'm going to be using these old storage boxes that I had from when I was building this megalithic structure, and I'm just going to be building out the houses in the same color palette as the bottom house here. Actually, in the same color palette as what I was using over here. Frickin' my own house is the color palette I'm basing it off of, because all of the first city, for those of you who either are too new or can't recall, the color palette of the first city was essentially me using this. It's going to be all these kind of dark oak roofs or spruce roofs and stuff like that. Spruce second stories with a lime, because the reason I'm using this is because it looks like limestone in the way that things are like whitewashed, where you build a house in say Italy, and then you build the house out of bricks entirely, and then you whitewash the bricks so that you end up with this kind of white exterior, but sometimes the white looks different, so it's textured. And also it's an excuse for me to use diorite, which I find funny because I know a lot of people who hate it. It's a decent looking block. Just give it a chance, guys. But yeah, and then this is going to be the block palette, and for 2-story houses, this will be the idea, where it's the 2-story house and the second story is made up of, like, spruce, essentially. Which brings me to realize that I need a spruce farm, but I'm not going to be doing that before I do this. I'm just going to be mining a crap ton of spruce. Actually, I have a crap ton of spruce. I did so much deforestation. I'm talking too quickly, and this probably is going to be completely illegible. But anyways, I am out of angel wings. But anyways, all of this to say, all of this stupidly long intro that will hopefully be cut down, all of this to say that I'm going to be knocking out this entirely over the next, like, maybe couple days. I don't know. I don't know how long this is going to take. But if it doesn't look like we got that much done this episode, I'm just going to pan back over to this thing, because getting this thing taken out will be enough in my own opinion. And I mean, realistically, there's only, what, like 40 of you? You'd probably agree, right? Right? You wouldn't let me down, right? I'm in your walls. And with that, about 30 minutes of work and near death on the entrenchment tool, about 4 to 5, not 4 to 5, about 2 to 3 months worth of work is abolished. Gonna be honest, it looks nicer this way. Like, a little bit of terraforming here and there, just to make sure that the hill is more gradual. It'll come together. It's better than, like, Flatland. This actually has some dynamic look to it. So, I'm going to try to salvage as much of this dirt as possible. Because grass is useful in a lot of my builds. And I'm going to, I guess... Well, I'm going to do it tomorrow. It's pretty late right now, but I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to get started on putting together some things. Oh, I gotta do this side too. Whoops. Yeah, I gotta do this. This actually is all pretty much at the level it was before anyways. But this here's gotta be taken care of. Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna get done off camera. It's only a little bit. Like, in comparison, it's not that much. It's just, I think the fact that this is all solid is the only difference. But I'm just going to be doing like a... Yeah, we can do it right now, actually. I'm going to be doing like a bypass. Oh, not quite low enough. Whoops. If wizards run the world. Alright, this itself will become a mob spawner, which is unfortunate. And then we'll just build up to... Yeah. So we're going to keep it at this level throughout that, but essentially I'm just going to carve that in and see what I can do with that. But that's all going to happen like tomorrow when I am not recording. But as far as the roadway goes, I'm going to start mapping that out up here. I've already kind of mapped it out down here, as we saw in the beginning of the episode, if I leave that in. But we have small plazas here. I might make these a little bit larger, just a bit. But a small plaza, and then... Okay, thank God, I almost accidentally used that. And then here we have another small plaza, and we're going to have offshoot roads coming off of this road, like alleyways and stuff like that. And I'm going to be kind of copying B00 yet again. I keep mentioning him. He is, honestly, Minecraft's best builder. I can't say, like, enough about the man. But he has this ability to draw what I'm going to be calling beautiful, useless houses. In the sense that, in at least his most recent episode, I can bring reference to that. No, the episode just before the one most recent to this. So long as he doesn't release one tomorrow morning. And so long as he doesn't release one within the next week. I'll check the episode number, 1 second. Okay, he doesn't number his episode, but in the episode Darkness and Light Become Friends, become friends, he makes one very beautiful facade building, and I'm going to be using a lot of that. He's basing it a lot on what Scar does, but the problem I have with trying to replicate Scar is that Scar builds really big stuff, and what B00 built was much smaller. Like when I was looking at Scar to try and draw inspiration, Scarland is honestly beautiful, but the problem that I have with it when I'm trying to replicate it is that it's too grand of a scale. So the little B00 building should be enough to get me kind of going. And honestly, if I only build like 3 or 4 buildings today, I'm still going to be happy about it because like B00 and Impulse and Scar are all professionals at this, you know what I mean? And yet it still took them as long as it's taken them to fill up the cyberpunk city just as much as they have. And it still took Scar like, what, 3 months to build the entirety of Scarland? Longer? I can't remember. But it was a daring while. So even if I only get like 3 buildings built today, I'm going to feel fine. But for now, I'm going to, well, I as a human being am going to take care of some personal stuff, but I'm going to repair this shovel when I get back to this game. And let's drop all these into the storage system. And let's get to work on building a city. Well, we got to terraform first, but, you know, either or. I'll cut to when I'm terraforming or building a city. Actually, I'll cut to when I'm building a city, because I said I was going to do it. Because I said I was going to be doing the terraforming off camera. I'm horrifyingly tired. Anyways, I've been doing a lot of looking at reference photos, looking at London's streets. Yes, that is correct. I looked at the filthiest place on earth for you people. And also, I've been looking at a lot of Yharnam specifically, because as I've mentioned before, the inspiration for all of this comes from Bloodborne. The inspiration for a lot of the first city is coming from Bloodborne. And I also asked a friend who has many more hours in Bloodborne than I do. And he gave me some very, very helpful pointers. Now, the main thing... Okay, there we go. I gotta sleep really quick, just to make sure that you guys can actually see what I'm pointing out. The main thing is that Bloodborne has or Yharnam specifically at least, Bloodborne, all the Souls games really, have a very convoluted network of how to get around to places. So that's what I tried to mimic here. There is one main road, and that main road is this one. It goes through here, goes to a central plaza here, and then up to the rest of it, which I'll map out eventually. And then off of these roads, there are smaller roads to smaller plazas to alleyways and stuff like that. And we're also going to be, as we're building buildings, or maybe even before we build buildings, building interconnecting things. Essentially, this library will eventually appear to be a normal size instead of gargantuan, because we're going to have houses stacked on top of houses and courtyards that are surrounded by these like leering 6-story tall buildings, because that's kind of what you see in Yharnam, and that's what I want. And another thing, they both attribute each other with the discovery, but I found out how to do their window, their softly lit window, if I can find some tinted glass. I found out how to do it in the shaders that we have, because normally like the light just kind of shines through and it doesn't look good. I think I can take some normal glass and make it tinted. Normally I'm going to show you guys how I mean this doesn't look good, but it truly does not look appealing. The only problem is that this most likely means, because of how I want to do this, we're going to need a quartz farm. Maybe I can use wool. Let's see if I can use wool, because I have a lot of white wool on hand. Like, there's even more than this somewhere else. But I have to find my tinted glass. Alrighty, and here we go, with some honey blocks in hand and some tinted glass, and of course our white wool. All we need now is a few copper bulbs. Now, this will all make sense in just a second, but I do have some leftovers in here. Let's craft some of this up. I only need one, I think, so I only realistically need like 3 of these, but I'm going to make more, so I want more. Alright, now I got to put some stuff away and get some blaze rods, which I think I have some excess of, which would be good, but I might not. And if I don't, I'm going to throw myself into the abyss. Gosh dang it, I need more blaze rods. Wait. If I go to you. Yeah, I need blaze rods. Alright, well, while I'm going to get blaze rods, I can set these out to dry. And by dry, I mean let him cook. They need to oxidize. So we have 1, 2... Alright, now with all these out to dry, I should be able to go to the nether and go do some blaze hunting. Oh, thank you so much. The slaughter begins. Are you not dead? Let us find a blaze spawner. Yes. Give me your bones. Mmm, tasty bones. Give me more bones. Fuel me with your bones. Bones. Yes, bones. I shouldn't need many more. Actually, I'll just stand here and I'll get a crap ton and I'll snap cut it all together. Alright, I'm gonna call that good. That's about a half stack. So now let us just return home. Alright, so we got all the blaze rods. All that we need to... Alright, so we got all the blaze rods. All that we need to do now is wait for these to age just a little bit. We're looking for them to get to the... what is it? What do I need? I need... I think weathered. I think I need weathered to get just the right lighting effect. If I don't, then I can always go back one. But I'm pretty sure it's weathered. Because we only want a little bit of light coming out of these, because again, since we're basing it on Bloodborne and specifically the city of Yharnam, or Old Yharnam or whatever, the thing is that the windows in that game don't give off a lot of light to the street, but they do give off a lot of light internally. So when it comes to this shader, the light still pours out of tinted glass. To the guy who makes Rethinking Voxels, if this could be fixed, it would be much appreciated. But for now, what we have to do is just use a light source that is weak enough that we can then push it through the tinted glass and have it look pretty close to normal. That makes sense? Hopefully it does. If it doesn't, sorry. You know, this is almost as interesting as watching paint dry. Truly riveting content. Hey, it changed. It changed. Ah. Okay, so that's an in real life day later, and we can finally start on what we're doing. I'm glad I gave myself a spare week. I'm still very ill. Ugh. To clarify what we're doing it, as I mentioned before, the scar or beat-ups method of window. That is, of course, because it's realistically whoever gives who credit, they both deny to take it. But to give a brief look at what we're doing, the reason we need these lanterns specifically, like this level of oxidization, is because... Oops. Alright, now we do honey in the back. You're only going to get that much, that's fine. For now, for our purposes, that's okay. And then mine this. That's a disgusting sound. Now, why is this specific window design super duper important, you might be asking? Well, we gotta wait for it to come to night to show specifically the reason, but I think you guys might already be able to see it. Just a little bit. Those who know what they're looking for might be able to see it. Now, a big problem that I ran into on a testing world is that, or on a build test world, just so that I can have like literally every block I want, is that the light shed coming through the tinted glass, again, hopefully this can get fixed in the shader specifically, but the light shed coming through the tinted glass was always far too much. But now, at this level, I think it's just right. So I'm going to wait till night, and then I'm going to showcase why this matters so much. So, cut here, I guess. Set. Set, you get... Set. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we should be able to start now. I am addicted to the Weapons of Miracles... to the Weapons of Miracles update. This spider climb thing, insane. Here we go. Okay. So I might have done it a little bit wrong. I did. Oh, I did it. Okay, so I'm going to fix that. There we go. Yeah, baby. So this is what we're trying to get, is this aesthetic where the inside looks lit. Another way of doing this would be to use... Another way to do this would be to use orange stained glass, but I don't want to make an orange dye farm. Primarily because I don't know how to. But this is kind of the system that we're going to be using, and the reason we need copper bulbs at such oxidization levels is to make sure that it is that exact light level coming out. The only other option I could see is that if I were to let these oxidize a little bit more, and I might run this test, and put them closer, like even closer still, then the look might be better. So I'm going to test that on the creative world, actually, and then if that works, I'm going to wait for another oxidization cycle. Alright, so I'm no longer sick. and I've been working on the roads. I think that this is actually pretty nice. I've been doing roadways that have that same kind of look as the basement when I put it all together, where it's kind of different spots have collected different amounts of grime and stuff like that. Again, basing this primarily off of like Yarnum and that kind of vibe, where the entire city is a little bit dirty. And so hopefully this will come across and it look decent. Hopefully. We can always pray. But now I have to get to actually making at least a couple facade buildings. I've put this off for too long. Admittedly, I am like IRL trying to find a job and also trying to balance school. So if there's a slowdown in episodes, don't be surprised. Life might get in the way. But I love doing this, so I'm going to try to keep doing it and keep the fire going. But as far as making stuff goes, time to make a few facade buildings. Yeah, let's get to work on making a few facades. I have all the materials here. We have the waxed weathered copper bulbs that we were waiting to oxidize earlier. And I did a test with these, actually. So with rethinking voxels, there's currently a problem that I raised in the Discord, and then the mod started working on immediately. Or not mod, I don't know what we call it. But there's this weird thing, and I shouldn't have slept just before this, so I might wait until we get to, until it gets to night, but I want to explain it now. There's a weird thing that happens. Can you make a, no you can't, okay. There's a weird thing that happens in rethinking voxels with specifically this like tinted glass light aesthetic. Oh, come on. What can I make a button out of? Oh, hi. Hi. Hello. Goodbye. Okay. Let's try this again. Just one, make polished blackstone, turn polished blackstone into a button. There we go. Okay. So, there's a weird thing that happens. Notice that here, the light is there, we can see it, but it doesn't bleed out onto like these two wool blocks at all. Like, these are just affected by the skybox. In fact, let's wait just a little bit for the sun to go beyond the outline of Rip Sky. Just hold on a second. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So, notice that like on the grass, we're not getting any shine through at all. Right? Like there's a little bit, but it's like kind of artifacty. It looks like it's not supposed to be there. And then if we put, I'm gonna do some blackstone in front of it to make it super high contrast. There's a little bit, but it's not as bright as if it were to be, where's Slick Axe? There you go. It's not as bright as if it were to be this. Like it is actually pretty well secluded. But there's this weird thing that happens once you start layering light boxes, where now it's coming at like almost full strength. It's super weird. And the inside still looks good, but like, here, to give contrast as to what it would be pointing at. So that's with honey, and then if we just, oops, gotta put that back now. And that's with just tinted glass. It's super strange. I'm still gonna do the honey because I know for a solid fact that this is getting fixed in the hopefully near future. But as far as it goes to But the aesthetic is that we're just going to have to deal with that until it gets fixed. And honestly, unfortunately, I will probably need more of these lanterns, because there's another thing that I shouldn't have mined the wool for, but there's another thing that I forgot to mention. That's a super weird thing. And I should note that I'm not saying any of this to knock on Rethinking Voxels. The guys behind it are working very, very hard, and I appreciate that very, very much. But if we do this, and then this... Whoop, that's tinted glass, not blackstone. Give that back. Thank you. There's some weird artifacting that happens on this block that'll look better if I make that a different material. Because the different material, you'll be able to see it as just like a flat surface. Why aren't you doing that, Alex? You freaking idiot. Do I have any stone on me? I don't have any stone on me. That's a shame. Okay, we'll try to use polished deep slate. See that? It's kind of there. It's kind of not. I don't know. There's some weird artifacting that can happen. And it gets worse once you have the honey block barrier. No, I need the wool again. I'm going to need that in a second too. So there we go. You see it? There's like a weird shadow effect. It might not be as prominent as I thought it was, but it is there. And it's just a little bit disruptive, but it's not terrible. The only huge issue that I could see us running into is the fact that many of these will have to be above, and so they'll wind up shining down onto the floor. And that's not the greatest look, but we can make it work. So anyways, all of that to say, shaders are weird. I understand that they're difficult. Yes, I too am a fan of Acerola, so don't worry. I fully understand that, like, making a shader, super duper hard. But in the future, this problem will hopefully be solved. Just gonna... Let's get to remembering what I'm gonna do today, making buildings. I'm just gonna make a couple off of this main avenue. And we are going to start building out from that, I think. How are they spawning? It's not even night. Get out of here. Okay, I got it. I apparently it's night. Cool. Cool. All right. And I think we're done. And I'd like to say that, one, this is the night before, like, the editing. So the upload goes up in 2 days. So technically, I made 2 buildings. Okay? Okay, we're gonna run on this technicality. But there's some few happy things going on here. One, I do need to come back to this because the roof still needs to be textured, so I'm going to be coming back to this later. But again, night before the editing, 2 nights before the upload. Yeah, so we're stopping here. This is 2 little houses. One of them is just a simple flat roof house in what I'm going to be calling the old district. I'm going to have a bunch of stuff back here built into the mountain, that kind of thing. And then this will be like Main Street, essentially. But this house here, I wanted to bring in some stuff from the FromSoft vibe. And that would be the weird and convoluted and surprisingly frequent shortcuts. So normally you're going to come over here and you're going to walk down Main Street and there's going to be no way, or perhaps very few ways, to get to the old district until you get to this crossroad where you walk down and, you know, suddenly you're in the old district along this wall, along that wall, and along that little ledge there. But with this, you can actually get to the old district or whatever it's containing quite rapidly, because there's one little trick that makes it so you don't have to walk through the entire Main Street. You just walk over here, jump up this ladder, very From Souls, walk through a room that I'm going to decorate the interior of later with like a bedroll, like someone's kind of haphazardly living here, and then across a bridge that has been built between the 2 buildings. and then down these stairs that are going to be in an alleyway later. So like this will be blocked off with like hay bales or something, like someone's storing food back here, or there's some other reason for it being there, but it's blocked entirely. Again, very From Softy, and like you can't go past this place, there's things here. But over here, this is just going to be like an alleyway where there's another building right here, and then you walk into this area. And that location is very, very hidden and you don't know about it, but then you come over here and you walk back through the alleyway and you want to get out of the city quickly. So you go over here, cross the bridge, walk through this building and then down this ladder and bada boom, you're out and you know, you can do things. Also, I'd like to note that as I've been building up the mountain, I've been forced to use this tunnel more. And I actually do still really like it, but it could use a little bit more love in the decoration and potentially like making it look like it's supported more than it's kind of cragged out of the mountain. I want to make it look a bit more supported by putting in like struts made of wood and maybe lanterns instead of torches, or putting sconces on the torches, that kind of thing. But this should look a lot more built up like infrastructure, since it's the place where from here we go up to here and then we're in a city. It's not like a mine tunnel. But anyways, I think that that is about it. And I should probably get back to the place that we were working today to wrap up the video. We built this today. This episode has been quite long to make, but that's partially because I got sick in the middle of the making of it. But until next time, I'll say thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely, lovely rest of your day. Safe travels, happy hunting, and Solo Deo Gloria.